Hello and good evening, everyone, and I welcome you to An Academy's Kaleidoscope session today. I'm Shubhangi, and I lead the branding and communication team here at An Academy. Um, I would like to take a moment to talk a little bit about Anne before we dive right into this very rich session by Arti. Um, An Academy is the brainchild of Dr. Jitin Chadda, who's also the founder and CEO of IIAD, which is a brick and mortar design school based out of New Delhi, Okhla. Um, IIAD has been around for more than a decade right now, and they offer degree courses. But and actually came as a need when COVID hit, and the need to impart design education online sort of felt paramount to us. And actually came from that need. So and the model of online learning has been tested over and over with the IIT students and then brought to other people through And Academy. The difference between IIAD and is that we offer professional short courses instead of degree courses. So you get to learn graphic, interior, or UI UX design in a very short capsule manner. But we don't compromise on the quality of education. You learn the fundamentals of design, you learn the applications, you learn the software. So the whole gamut you learn. We offer mostly part-time courses. We offer one full-time course in graphic design, but most of our courses are part-time, and these are designed for people who are working or have other commitments during the day. So they would want to take part-time courses and they can't commit fully to a course or move to another place to sort of take these courses. These courses are designed for those people. Um, I've already spoken about the pedigree that we come from, which is IIAD. All of our courses are designed by people that are also practitioners and academicians. So you get very relevant, up-to-date industry knowledge about what is happening in the design industry, what are recruiters looking for, what skills work best for what space, etc. And these people are also imparting or like delivering these courses. Um, and all of the classes happen in a live interactive manner, unlike this session where Arti will be addressing you or presenting on a topic, and then you will be sort of absorbing it passively. That does not happen in a class. Classes are online, live, interactive. You're supposed to sort of contribute to discussions and work on projects, etc., during the class itself. Um, we also focus a lot on design principles and processes over software learning. So you do get to learn your softwares, your Adobe Photoshops and your Lightrooms and AutoCAD and Figmas, whatever is relevant for your domain. But what do you do with that software? How to think like a designer, how to solve problems, how to break down design briefs. That is what you learn here at And. A lot of projects are sort of peppered throughout the curriculum. So you have one module, then you have one project, one module, and then one project. So you learn something and then you apply it in a project. And these projects also borrow from real world challenges. So something that you would find when you hit the ground running, when you get into the market, these problem statements borrow a lot from those. So designing for residences or for cafes or for office spaces or for small pop-ups. Or for UI, UX, and graphic design, whatever might be relevant. So these problem statements are taken from there so that we simulate that sort of environment and make you industry ready, so that when you graduate from these courses, you can what is it that is going to hit you in terms of work, etc. And all of these projects that you work on during the course culminate into a market ready portfolio. So when you graduate, you have something to show for that, what, this is what I produce, and you can sort of send it to your employers, to recruiters. You can start your own practice, you can show it to clients, etc. We also have a lot of faith in the quality of design education that we provide. So we offer job guarantee on select courses. We offer placement support and interior design. We do not offer a job guarantee, but yeah. And I also like to mention that all of these courses are stackable. So you start from the very basics. You cover your basics, your fundamentals, and then you sort of move on to the next level, or you choose to move on to the next level. If you want to end the course at your fundamental level, you can do that. If you want to move to the next level, you can also do that. And if you would want to become an expert, then you can go to the PG diploma level. So there's three levels: certificate, diploma, and PG diploma. Um, we've been around for 3 years. We have a community of 1,400 plus learners now. We have 200 plus industry connects, and we are rated 4.6 on Google. So if any of you are wanting to enroll for one of these courses, just do check us out. Drop us a line on email or call us. You'll find all the details on our website. That is about an academy. Moving to what is it that we're doing today. So this session, this series is called Kaleidoscope. Today's session is part of the Kaleidoscope series. So Kaleidoscope was conceptualized as a series where we invite design maestros to share their perspective on design, and that is exactly what we are going to do today. Today we have with us Arti Gugnani, who's a partner at Vijay Gupta Architects. Arti's career as a multidisciplinary practitioner spans over 3 decades with a diverse portfolio across various scales and typologies throughout the nation. She prioritizes user-centric and environmentally responsible design approaches, resulting in impactful works. Her processes incorporate value engineering to ensure the practicality and effectiveness of her designs, showcasing her commitment to creating user-friendly spaces. With that, I will hand it over to Aarti to just like please take this forward.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I just share my screen. Yeah, thank you so much, Shubhangi. Okay. Yeah, so hello everybody, and welcome to this presentation, which focuses on how design can be a partner in interior design can be a partner while designing healthcare spaces. And thank you, Shubhangi, for such a kind and wonderful introduction. So, of course, as you know, my name is Arti, and 36 years of practice behind me have during this tenure, I have got the opportunity to design many healthcare institutes, and notable among them is, the AIMS new OPD block, AIMS Mother and Child block, then the Safdarjung new emergency block. And I've also designed quite a few private healthcare institutes and medical colleges also. So, in order to design such huge facilities, a lot of research, I had to do, and there were a lot of learnings from whatever I researched on. And through this presentation, I'd like to share those learnings with you. So let's just dive right into the presentation. So, if you see how the traditional approach towards designing hospitals was, you must have been to the old school kind of hospitals, maybe they could be the old AIMS, blocks, Safdarjung blocks, or Ram Manohar Lohia, or whatever, So the moment you go into the hospital, you feel that it's a very, utilitarian and very cold and unwelcoming kind of an environment. So that is because, in those days, the focus was not, so much on, the focus was mostly on, just fulfilling the bare physical needs of the patient. So it was thought that if you have a, hygienic, clean and functional, setup, that was enough for a hospital situation. The focus was mainly on providing good clinical support, medical support, and that it was believed that that would lead to the best possible outcomes for the patient. But, everybody forgot, that in such a situation, the patient did not feel comfortable. They ended up feeling very stressed, anxious, and, scared of whatever was to follow. So, a lot of then research went into, what, you know, will be the psychology of a space for a healthcare facility. So this research led to the, to the thinking that human health is just not dependent on physical health. It is a sum total of emotional health, psychological health, and mental health also. And what, influences all these things? It is the environment also, which, makes us feel uh, a sense of well-being, when we are in a healthcare space. So environment can, by proxy form, be a part of therapy. And with medicine, it can lead to, much good treatment outcomes. So through the environment, we can, help to reduce the stress on the patient. And when the stress reduces, the patient feels calmer, the pain levels reduce, blood pressure reduces, responds better to treatment. And so overall, it's a win-win situation for the patient and the healthcare providers. Then there was a gradual shift towards the approach to hospital design. It was then decided, it was, realized that functionality alone is not enough, and functionality must be accompanied by empathetic design. So, and, it was, since hospitals primarily exist, the basic purpose of a hospital is to heal human beings. So that is why we have to humanize healthcare spaces. So we have to treat patients not just as people, and we have to support their emotional well-being, their mental well-being, and their psychological well-being. So there are many ways in which we can achieve this. So I'll just quickly take you through that. It could be, oops. Where is the screen? I've lost the screen. So the first foremost amongst that is creating a healing environment. So what can we do to make an environment that is healing? There are many factors. It could be through, getting natural daylight. It could be through views of nature. It could be through landscape, integrating landscape. Then the other factor we have is, ensuring comfort and privacy. So if, you have soothing, warm interiors, the spaces are not noisy and quiet. So the patient feels, comforted and responds better to treatment. Then you have another factor is how to bring about emotional well-being of a patient. So many factors influence this. It could be, through color. So application of color, in the interiors could be through artwork, murals, maybe through, sounds, which is maybe sound of music or sound of water falling or, any such thing. Another important factor in this is, family inclusive design. So in a hospital situation, traditionally you would have some caregivers with you, and we have to take care of the need of these caregivers also, because they are our support mechanism. So if we have, well appointed waiting spaces where they can, sit comfortably, we have good places where, they can catch a meal or two. So that, the kind of support that, brings to the this thing patient is invaluable. Then of course there is this factor of the healthcare providers themselves. So the doctors, nurses, administrators, they are also, in that same hospital environment day in, day out. So how they feel is also important. It is, for them, if the environment is good, they are less stressed, they feel that, the burnout is less. So the kind of care they are able to provide to the patients is, much more positive and better. So Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can. It's on
But
function meets empathy. Is
yeah,
the
yeah,
slide that you're on?
yeah, but I'm not able to now turn on this thing. Go to the next slide somehow. I don't know what the problem is.
You want to try the scroll that is there on the right hand side?
Yeah, I'm doing that, but somehow I'm not able to. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just a minute.
It has not moved though.
It hasn't moved. Okay.
It's still on function meets empathy.
Uh, oops. Okay, just let me call some tech support. Just a minute.
Just stop your screen share and then you can share again. Maybe that will work.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see. Yes, works,
Okay.
works.
So now, now the thought process is that we have to move from that totally clinical and functional approach to a more humanized approach. So through a few examples, I'm just trying to highlight how environment matters. So on the left, you can see a very old school kind of setup. So here there is, the focus is only on treatment. You can see the room has no windows. There is hardly any natural light. And, the walls are drab. The lighting is so harsh. But here on the right, the scenario, you have large windows, you have views to the outside. And so everybody is kind of looks less stressed. And, this is the kind of thing which will bring on positive treatment outcomes. So again, here you see in a CT scan, when you go to get a CT scan, again, you're not in a very good frame of mind. And here the environment is doing nothing to, really, lessen your stress. But if you walk into some situation where the CT scan room looks like this, get a more positive mindset, and maybe can go get through the procedure in a, better way. So, little things, make such a big change in the entire way that you feel. So here again, there's this example of a chemo suite. So here, though the treatment in both situations you're going to get is the same, but the question is, how does this space make you feel? What you see on the left is, there is hardly any privacy. There is no, natural light. There is no view. There is nothing really going on positively for you. But whereas on the right side, you see the materials used are warmer, you have some privacy, you have light, natural light, you have views to the outside. So you are in a more positive mindset, and when you are in a positive mindset, you are able to take that harsh treatment also. Then again, here you can see how the ICU, very, very typical ICU situation where it is just machines and, nothing else going in that space. And how we can, just by little interventions, at least make it a little bit more bearable for the people, in the IC. So small things go a very long way, in hospital interiors. So that is, what has led to the premise that interior design is a silent partner in healthcare. It is almost like an invisible caregiver, So because it's not intrusive, it is just by being there, it is, giving a kind of therapeutic effect and making the patients heal in a better way. So layouts which are support all these things like being ensuring privacy, reducing noise, clear wayfinding, and many such things, they bring about a very positive experience for the patient. And that is what is important in healthcare. And also, we support the needs of the healthcare workers, the visitors, so that overall whoever uses the healthcare facility comes out in a better frame of mind. So these examples show how hospital interiors can make a big difference. Earlier, in the designs that we did, we hardly, interior design of hospitals was hardly a thing. See, architecture was always considered very important in hospital design, but people paid very little attention to, the interior part. But that has changed dramatically, over the years. And because of, all these researches and all the change in this thought, on the thought processes. So, now I'd like to touch upon, through whatever, research that I did. So there were a lot of factors, which came up, which the factors which influence the psychology of a space. So I'll just, take you briefly through these things briefly. I'll just mention them and then we'll take them up one by one. So the first and foremost thing which I feel is visual connection with nature. Then another important, very important part is, a natural light. I will touch upon all these later on. Then, then another factor is how, sensory elements are important. And these are elements which engage our five senses. So how, these elements can, either stimulate our senses or soothe them for positive outcomes. Then, though natural light is important, but how we treat the artificial lighting, that also is of paramount importance. Then we have this thing of psychological things, that elements that affect our psychology. So that can be achieved through color and materials. Clear wayfinding is another very important thing. I mean, many hospitals are lacking in, but it really changes the way we perceive or experience the hospital. And last but not the least is biomimicry. This is how we can bring natural elements, or references to natural elements to the interiors. So I'll just take these up one by one. So the first thing I'd like to touch upon is visual connection with nature. So nature, is a silent healer. It's a therapy in itself only. When you see, views of natural landscapes, or you see, greenery, or you just look outside, it is, so calming. You just feel so grounded and good. And, in this respect, I'd like to share my personal example. My father was a cancer patient. So I had to spend, a lot of time with him in hospitals where he would get his chemo and treatment. So we used to go to Sir Gangaram Hospital, and there you have these sterile, suites. The thing about that was, there are two kinds of, overlooking, um, there are two kinds of rooms which overlook different kinds of spaces. So one set of rooms was overlooking that southern ridge, and one set of rooms was overlooking a service courtyard, where we could see only the windows of other rooms and pipes and all services, etc. So I can't even begin to tell you, how different those two rooms felt in, and what a difference they made, to my father. So if we were overlooking the ridge, so just the sight of that shining sun, it could see the blue sky or the moving clouds, or the trees swaying with the wind. It would make you feel much calmer and much more ready to take that harsh treatment. But if we were in that other room, my father would just be feeling very anxious and depressed. And, that showed in the outcome of the treatment also. So, visual connection with nature has to be one of the most important things that one has to plan for in a healthcare facility. We have to take care to avoid, that we don't open windows onto blank walls, or another, window of another room, or any service shafts and things like that. It's really important. So the next point I'd like to touch upon is the importance of natural light. So natural light is said to be almost therapeutic. They say that exposure to natural light reduces pain, it reduces depression, fatigue, dependence upon medicine, and therefore it leads to much shorter hospital stays. So, when you see the, the movement of the sun through the day, you can make out, that it's morning, it's afternoon, it's evening. Supposing you're not able to see, the natural, this thing, you feel totally disoriented, but just that sight of the natural light coming in makes you, totally feel totally grounded, and it makes spaces much more, inviting. Also, the advantage of natural light is that it helps to regulate our circadian rhythms, and therefore, it uh, uh, makes regulates our sleep pattern, and leads to, you feel more restful, if you are exposed to natural light. So natural light also, reduces the dependence upon artificial light, because too much artificial light, it has been researched and proven that it leads to a lot of fatigue and irritability in patients. So we move on to the next slide. In this, I will touch upon how, we can use sensory elements. So these are elements which affect our five, senses. So the most important sense I feel is the sense of, vision. So what affects us, or what is it that soothes our sense of vision? What is it that, calms our sense of vision? That is important. So as we have discussed, light, views of nature, and, maybe through color, we can, soothe, or, create a positive impact on the psyche. Then, but through use of art and murals, they can uplift the spirit. The next would be the sense of touch. So, we can use textural materials. So this could be, when we see textures, somehow we feel more, there's a little warmth, and there's a little comfort, it doesn't feel so cold and stark. It starts feeling a little more, you feel a little more at ease when you can see in these examples, just this little, wood paneling and this little mural kind of thing. It instantly, makes you feel as if it's a not such a, sterile kind of environment. It makes you feel so good. So here also you can see how, these the murals on glass, they create such a, different kind of impact. So, this is how, the small interventions make such big differences. So coming back to these sensory elements, another important factor in hospitals is, the kind of noise. If you've, been to any hospital, you would have seen how, noisy, and what there's a constant kind of hum of, activity, and constant clatter kind of thing. So if we, use materials which have good acoustical properties, that would really, bring down the noise and give us auditory comfort. Then there is this thing about, the smell associated with hospitals. I mean, don't know, but the moment I approach a hospital, I just that smell, gives me a sick feeling in my stomach. So we have to address that through good design, if we design for good ventilation, and or even if it's a good air conditioned facility, we can design, for good fresh air system to be integrated with the HVAC system, or we could design for good air changes so that thing is addressed. So this is how we can address the we can bring about better design through use of sensory elements. So yeah, then we come to a very very important tool in hospital interiors, which is color. So color is such a thing that by doing very little we can achieve a lot. Just if you see this example, just by the addition of this very nice and yellow color, how the interior has been transformed. And again, you can see the example of this ward by the soothing green. The total aspect of that, this thing. Imagine if the walls were stark white, as they usually are, vis-a-vis what we have, what you can see over here. So it's a, a dramatic change by doing very little. So color, in this case, of course, color choice is very, very important, because we have to use colors very judiciously. Blues and greens traditionally are colors which are considered to bring about calm and tranquility. But we have to use softer tones and pastels for these colors. And if we use slightly warmer colors, like orange, or maybe a little mild orange, or mild yellow, so these bring about a little bit of positivity. So they affect your energy, they bring about a little cheer, and make the hospital space a little better for users. So we must remember that all this color has to be supported by neutral shades, which act as a backdrop, so that the other colors can shine, uplift, and inspire. Yeah. So next topic I'd like to touch upon is the importance of material. So material, actually is what shapes how comfortable a space, will be. Because materials are directly related to how we perceive the entire space. So, of course, in a hospital situation, you have to be very mindful of what material you're using, because you don't want to use materials that attract dust or dirt or germs. We have to use materials which we can clean easily. We have to use seamless kind of materials. So but even within these limitations, we can do a lot with so that the materiality of the place can bring about a comfort to that space. So by use of vinyl is also sound absorbing, or you use good acoustical material for the ceiling. You use some nice paneling, and you use some textural materials for that. So all that makes it less sterile, makes the space look a little livable, you approachable. It doesn't feel like it's something which is where you wouldn't like to be at all. So this kind of warmth and softness is what we can achieve in interiors through use of judicious use of material. So the other important thing that I'd like to touch upon is biomimicry. So biomimicry is basically, it's bringing in the essence of nature through mimicking nature. So basically we use, textures, forms, patterns, which are inspired by, all natural things, maybe water, maybe plants, maybe landscapes. So so this creates a kind of sense of familiarity, and it soothes you, when you see those patterns reflected in the interiors. So we can use these patterns through many, ways. It could be murals, it could be skylights, it could be anything, like you can see over here, in the vinyl, this pattern of a plant has been made. And here you can see how in a CT scan suite, there is this stretch ceiling, stretch fabric ceiling. And in this, they have tried to mimic the pattern of, the sky with the clouds. How comforting, this, if this is, if you just look at it, then here again, you have in the vinyl only, they've created this, waterscape. So these references to nature, they really, influence our psyche and make us, feel much better in this space. And you feel calmer, you feel more hopeful. And this is what supports our recovery in a healthcare institute. So we've talked about natural lighting, but artificial lighting is so important in, it can actually make or break the design, because usually whatever we see in hospitals, it is a very, very harsh kind of, direct lighting. And there is a lot of glare, and in this kind of, lighting, if it's always constantly, on your head, you feel really fatigued and stressed. So we have to be very mindful of the color temperature of the light. We have to keep it as close to the temperature of natural daylight. And that helps in regulating how, comfortable we feel, how cheerful we feel, in the hospital. Minimizing glare by using good fixtures, and using fixtures which give diffuse lighting. As you can see here, these fixtures, are giving out such a good, diffused light, vis-a-vis, that spotlight or the tube light, or those reflective lights that you have. So this supports, the patient to in feeling, much calmer and better. So the last point in this, elements that influence psychology of a space is wayfinding. So whenever you go to hospitals, you see how, chaotic their layouts are. And almost every time I go to a hospital, I certainly get lost over there, because they're totally overwhelming, and there is never any clear signage. So if you, are able to manage clear wayfinding, it is a instant way of calming patients and visitors. And it also, improves staff efficiency, because otherwise half the people are, asking the staff which way to go, this, that. And, in general, the patient reaches wherever they have to faster. They feel more in control when they know, when they can have clear wayfinding, and so it improves their overall experience. So wayfinding can be through, many ways. It could be, through intuitive signage, or it could be through color coding. So in color coding, what is done is, usually uh, every department is assigned some color, and then you have, these color either on the floor or on the walls, these strips. So they lead you to your particular, whichever department you want to do. So if orientation is, simple, I mean, then it leads to a lot of, less stress on the patient's psyche. So now that we have talked about whatever, influences the psychology of a space, I would like to touch upon biophilic design. Biophilic design, the term biophilic is derived from the word biophilia, which essentially means love for life. So biophilic design can be applied to all, this thing of architecture, all fields of architecture. But in healthcare, it is a game-changing, kind of thing. And it is the most important way of humanizing healthcare environments. So basically, it is just bringing nature indoors. So how do we do that? Could be through a multitude of ways. It could be, through direct elements, like we put a lot of plants inside, or daylight, or we use water features, or we, have views to the outside. It could be through indirect elements, which could be, we try to replicate patterns, textures, or natural, forms. It could be through spatial experiences. So we use different layouts or, forms which echo which echo nature. So biophilic design, just see, over here, what a difference it makes, in the perception of the space. You uh, just the moment you see this greenery, you see the, warm wood textures, you just feel that, like, you're in a, much less stressful environment. You instantly feel calmer, and you forget that you're in a place where you should be feeling more stressed. So you see how, here, this is the example of, healing courtyards. So many hospitals nowadays are designed with these, internal courtyards, which act as healing courtyards. So in this respect, I'd like to share some example. Once my 4-year-old nephew, he was hospitalized, and this was at Sitaram Bhartiya Hospital. So, there they have this central courtyard, and all the, patient rooms overlook that courtyard. So that courtyard is very beautifully landscaped, and there are places to sit. There are, beautiful, trees, flowers, shrubs. So as a part of the treatment, the doctor would allow us to, sit in that garden for some time every day. And I can't even tell you, how much, that affected my nephew's recovery. So just, sitting, in the courtyard, feeling the sun on your skin, feeling the breeze, flowing, smelling the, perfume of the flowers. It was like almost therapeutic. And that, I think, led to much faster recovery for my nephew, than otherwise would have. So biophilic design is, one of the most important things I feel in designing a healthcare facility. So now I'd just like to share a little, case study of Rainbow Children's Hospitals. Now this is a chain, and they have many hospitals, all across, in all metros and other cities also. So, designing children's hospitals is a very difficult thing to do, because for grown-ups, it is easy for them to understand, that they are not well, and they have to, undergo difficult treatments. They have to stay away from home. But for a child to understand these things is really difficult. So, we to create an environment where the child, feels less stressed because of the design is very important. So here you see, what kind of waiting lobby they have made. So it hardly looks like a hospital situation. And a child comes over here can automatically, uh, feel good, and they won't be stressed out from the very beginning, for because of the being in the, hospital environment. So here you see, these are their rooms. So you can see how, there's soft diffuse lighting. See this, the kind of wall paneling they've used, the soft colors and the textural elements. and these references to nature through the artwork. So such a, soothing and calming kind of room this is, Then you see these waiting spaces and these spaces for eating. How, they have through biomimicry created this, a tree, and use this stretch fabric, to create that, kind of light filtering in from the tree leaves, and just some little bit of wooden flooring. And you can see at the back, how this subtle orange, pops and gives a little bit of cheer in this neutral background. So it's all in all a very calming kind of, an interior this thing situation. Then you see here, how they have treated the rooms, this beautiful green, these large windows, and then you can see greenery from the outside. See how, nice these lights are. So overall, this is a very, kind of therapeutic kind of environment. Then you see these consultation rooms, these cute murals they have put would, instantly de-stress any, child who comes into this room. So how, interiors are a game changer, in this entire healthcare scenario. So, since the times of Ames and Safdarjung, how much design has evolved, you can see through these images. These are all Indian hospitals, and they're across various cities. So you can see, everybody is, doing, approaching healthcare design in the most innovative way. So see here how, this is a consultation room. So little murals, colors, tech, wooden finishes, how, what a difference, these things have made. Here you can see the waiting lobby, see how the light comes in, how beautiful, the greenery outside is. So again, all very de-stressing, calming, Then here again, you can see, and these are again photos. So there's this huge skylight, which lets in light in the interiors, and you can get a sight of the sky and all through the skylight also. This is a, children's hospital, so they have used these murals to create some interest along the walls. So at now, this is, the end of my presentation, and I'd like to leave you with some, thought process which I have developed over the years with regard to hospital design. So my thought is that less is always more while designing a healthcare facility. So by less, I don't mean that, you have to cut corners. It is, what I mean is that you must just cut out all the excesses, and we have to prioritize what is the truly important thing and design with clarity, so that the end product that you get is not cluttered, is totally, is in sync with the ethos of good design. So yeah, so with this, I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And if you'd like to ask me any questions, please do.
Thank you so much, Arti, for that wonderful presentation. We already have a lot of questions. I would like to also just like talk about the fact that you can now put in the questions and just use the Q&A box that is at the bottom of your screen to sort of put in the question so that we can answer it systematically and we don't want to miss out on your questions. Okay, so diving right in, first question is how to incorporate nature in our designs with a sense of harmony. I think they're trying to ask you that without us sort of being intrusive with nature, like not rerouting or replanting trees, I guess.
Well, I mean, so the examples that I've shared have shown that you don't have to be, do you mean that while constructing the hospital, or what are you talking about? How to bring it?
This is the question, I think, how to incorporate nature in our designs with a sense of
So,
harmony.
so this is, nature, you can always bring in either you have to design for you get the greenery into the built form. You can have courtyards, you can have green walls, you can have greenery through many ways. But
Yeah.
also, I talked about biomimicry. So those references are also important. Supposing you are just able to create that reference through a mural, through an artwork, through
Hmm.
some pattern on the floor. So even those references are important, of nature. So
Right.
yeah.
Moving to the next question, as an architect, do you do interior design yourself or do you have a separate interior team? Is there any scope in interior design? This
Well,
is
I
a
feel
loaded.
interior, it is interior design, of course, whatever I do the architecture for, I would also do the interior for, because, you like to perceive the space as a whole. You don't want to see it, you only if you visualize the whole thing can you bring it to life. That's what I feel. But, interior design, I feel, is a, a very, very important way in which you can, change the aspect of a space, So, I mean, I think as important as architecture, I would put it in the same, bracket. It is like that.
Right. Somebody's asking, I have done civil engineering. Can I still pursue interior design as a career?
Yeah, sure, I can, but you can, but, but because, but you need to have that flair. It is, interior design is not something that you can be really taught. So it has, if you have that spark, you feel that you have it within you, you can surely be a good interior design.
And a lot of, I would say, technicals do come from engineering in that manner.
Hmm.
Structures or architecture or civil, they do like, or interior also for that matter, they do follow a lot of the similar engineering basis. So I
Yeah.
guess the base sort of is there.
Yeah. So see, the technical part, of course, is very important in anything. You can design, but if it doesn't work, then it's of no use.
Correct.
So that engineering, that basic engineering is at the backdrop of everything. But that to create a truly, standout design, you have to have that flair.
Right.
Just engineering will not give you that, that real
They
impact
have
that
to
you
have
need.
that eye, that visual, that
Yeah, yeah,
aesthetic also.
yeah.
Correct. What, according to you, is good design?
Well, since my philosophy is, more about functionality and user experience, so I feel any design which, satisfies the needs of the user in the best possible way is actually good design. I might think something is good, but I cannot, impose it upon another person. I have to do what he wants, and do it in the best possible way. It isn't as if I'll do exactly what he wants. I have to guide him, I have to steer him, and I have to give him something where he feels happy.
Correct. Somebody saying I'm new to interior design, but I want to pursue a career in it. Do you have any advice for me?
Well, my advice to, I think, all architects and this thing is, and interior designers is, you have to work with love and passion in this field. you know it is such a vast field. You have to put in a lot of work. You must know your materials. You must be, willing to do a lot of research, and you must have some technical, background also. And there is no stopping you if you, do all these things. You can do really well.
I think this is something that our faculty used to say in architecture school also, that if you want to pursue architecture, you have to really commit and
Yeah.
understand that this is not a career, it's a way of life.
It's a way of life. Whenever I go for holidays and all, my family is like really, they're so sick of me. I am just photographing all these things, little things. अरे ये flooring pattern बहुत अच्छा है. अरे ये कितनी अच्छी detailing है. My entire holiday reels are just this only. So it's actually a way of life, really.
Uh, Cavalier is asking, does it not create a distraction for doctors? Cavalier, if you could just elaborate, what is it that you're talking about? What creates a distraction for doctors? We can come back to your question. Somebody is asking, hi, ma'am, you've already pointed out the problem of hospitals usually having a distinct smell, and you've mentioned ventilation as a solution. But I think ventilation itself isn't enough. Can you please give some more natural solutions to this problem, not just synthetic air fresheners?
Not air fresheners. I was not talking about air fresheners at all. Is in when you design air conditioning systems, you have to add fresh air, because normally if you see in a window AC or split AC, we don't have fresh air. But in a hospital situation, you have to add fresh air from the outside into the interiors. So if you have a good amount of fresh air, coming in, the AC system is designed like that, then that smell is taken care of. And also, nowadays in green building design and all, they also specify how many air changes you need to have in the air conditioning system. Then normally a air conditioning system recirculates the air. So how many times it will do that, the faster it does it, the fresher the space will feel.
Right. And very, very, very natural and I would say right on the nose solution is to just like get more greens inside. It
Yeah,
creates
yeah,
more
that
oxygen
too,
and
that too.
then
So,
create.
nowadays the hospitals are all actually air conditioned, but I feel that if we don't rely so much on air conditioning and let some places be naturally ventilated, that
Mhm.
would also be good. In some places we might not need so much air conditioning, so that also helps sometimes.
Yeah. Moving on to the next question. While natural plants in the interior have a lot of advantages, but they come with the drawback of pollen and mold allergy, increasing the risk of certain patient group. So, is artificial foliage a better option as it mimics nature? I think.
Well, in you can do have artificial also, because it is a biomimicry kind of a thing only if you use artificial thing. But I'm sure that even natural, if you select the right kind of plants and you are taking care of them, because nowadays everybody has some kind of a maintenance agency who changes the plants, and you select the right kind of plants, so that helps. And I am okay with artificial also, as long as it you get some sense of green, in the interiors.
Right. Uh, okay, moving on to another one. What emerging trends, technologies excite you about the future of healing or healthcare environments?
Well, future technologies is, maybe green buildings, of course, is something which is, really. So we are designing all the hospitals nowadays are, they have to be certified. I mean, all the hospitals we are doing, they have some kind of green rating. So a lot goes into, designing a green facility. You have to think about how everything can be in that circular kind of cycle, and reused, and how we can reduce the kind of energy that is used. So that I feel is very important for healthcare now.
Yeah. Pete is asking, ma'am, will you most times sacrifice functionality and form for beauty and aesthetics or the other way around?
No, I think I would, I mean, primarily designed for functionality, and then I would, see how best I can, make it aesthetically,
Correct.
pleasing.
Correct.
Functionality trumps everything, maybe.
At the core, design is problem solving, and functionality would be as close
Yeah,
to problem solving you would get. So yeah.
yeah.
Uh, Shelja is asking, hi, I am a fashion designer and I'm pursuing an interior designer. I am pursuing interior design also from Anne. So can you please guide on how can I pursue this as an entrepreneur?
See, it's a little difficult to, start out on your own. But I mean, if you are really passionate, you should actually get a work somewhere, get some work ex, and get some, knowledge of how things actually work before you, go on to this entrepreneurship journey, because practical knowledge and working on some live projects is very important to give you that grounding that you will definitely need for on this journey.
Right. Kebale is asking, doesn't too much color and pattern and design create distraction for the doctors?
So you write in a bit over here that we have to, like I said, it has to be done with a lot of restraint. I mean, you can't, just put colors and patterns and, things everywhere. You have to be very judicious in how you use it, where you use it, and how much you use it.
Yeah, it has to be deliberate.
Yeah.
Mohit is asking, ma'am, visualizing the design for spaces, but how to communicate with other team like vendors or printers and paster, etc. As sometimes result which we thought initially doesn't come that way.
Very, very valid kind of question, because, sometimes when you see, oh, this was my 3D and look what has, what that thing has come out. So it is a constant struggle, to really communicate your design and, translate into it into reality. But, I feel that if you really are, if you really deep dive into it, you will surely find some solution. I mean, everything is daunting, in the beginning. You every design translation into reality is daunting and it has its challenges. But if you're very committed to it, you will surely find some, kind of, a way to get to that end result.
And there is a lot of, for the lack of a better word, matha podi that you have to do.
Yes, yes. Matha, see, you have to make adjustments along the way. Matha Phodi to is part of, I think, this profession. But I mean, you make some adjustments, but you don't, I mean, that core thing that you were looking for,
That
that you
doesn't go.
shouldn't sacrifice. Yeah.
Cool. I think we have answered all the questions. We've also gone a little bit over time, but I would like to close. I usually like to close all of these sessions by asking my favorite question, which is, Arti, if you were to redesign something tomorrow and you have no constraints, you can redesign something very tiny or something like, as big as the Delhi metro railway system, what would you redesign?
Well, I keep it very basic. I would like to redesign my house. Because I'll tell you what, houses can never be perfect. How much ever you put into them, when you start living in them, you just realize, oh, this has gone wrong, and maybe I should have, done it some other way. So I would love to have, redesigned my own residence.
That's a great answer. Very personal and emotional. Thank you so much for doing this with us, Aarti. We had a wonderful time. I hope everybody who stuck around till the end of the session also had a great time. You learned something and you also had like fun while doing this. So yeah, thank you for taking out the time to do this with
Thank
us.
you so much. Thank you so much. And it was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Bye. Good night,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Good night.